Hello and welcome to Game On right here on SABC 1, brought to you by Hollywoodbets. And as usual, we will be breaking down action in the PSL as well as the English Premier League out abroad. I am Sizo Mabena, as always, joined by legends of the game in Shane McGregor as well as Jerry Skosana. So the first to join me as we look into the local game is the Legs of Thunder. Grand. I'm surprised you say that. Grand. I'm surprised because my predictions were last week. Many surprises, great results, interesting times in the DStv Premiership. But how did you see the games?
It's something I've been expecting.
Yeah.
But at least I did want people to say, somehow uvusi Vilakazi njoba athathe Richards Bay as a head coach, not co-coaches. Maybe bazovuka, but I never gave them a chance against the SuperSport. But hey man, now SuperSport 3-1. But it's good for them, really. It's good for them, but it was a surprise result, to be honest, because the SuperSport yalo phela ifuna ukuba lapha phezulu izothola phela le number 2 Champions League, because obviously man number 1 yalapha kuma Sunderland.
Also for Richards Bay, it's an important time in the season. Good the results. When you consider now and they're fighting relegation, yes, we're at the midway point of the season, but just enjoy him.
It's a good start for them with their new coach. In fact, not a new coach. Coach also be in charge of Richards Bay FC. But if ubuka manje nabo sebashaye ngokuthi nje babe ne breathing space lapha Cape Town, uyabona nje ziyabuya man lapha ku Spurs. So sekunale points le 9-point difference bayicreateile lapha phansi, sebafaka more pressure lapha ku Spurs. But for them it's good because I've said that you need teams from the coast, but unfortunately one will come out, but it's okay. We'll see how it fade out.
Ngabuza last week, that is a good time to play Sundowns for Bulugwane City. What do you think now? What's the around the Sundowns?
Hey man, Sundowns are fun now. 2 games, not even a single goal.
Yeah.
2 0-0 scores, like in terms of stalemates. And it's, into ongayexpectanga ku Sundowns, but na yenze. I wonder kwenzakalani. But Sundowns is Sundowns, they're still comfortable. They're on top, I think 6 points ahead and still 3 games in hand, even though you don't count Lauma games as points, but they give you that edge from the rest of the other players, other teams. So I think for Sundowns, they're still comfortable, but the 2 results, ikutshela something with ngathi manje sekuyakhuphuka.
Many of the teams, maybe they're going to go number 2, they're going to go Africa come the end of the season. Chiefs may be seen as one of those teams that want to compete and get in there. Pirates may be seen as one of those teams that want to compete and get in there like SuperSport United. Both of them, babone spoke.
Ungakhohlwa neStelis nasi phela senza umhlolo nasi. From 2 goals, like when we were watching the game badlala nePirates, I saw the Pirates players scoring and sleeping, and then I thought they've wrapped up the game. No man, the score is 3-2.
Yeah,
Stelis is spoiled. That's how serious Stelis are.
Yeah,
and I'm happy because they are also setting a trend in terms of being respected. And for them to be there in the top 4, it's not just because they're not playing good football. It is because of good football, attacking football, and also exciting football, because bona badlala ibhola elivulekile. That was my worry when they were playing the Carling Cup, because they were too reserved in terms of going forward. But again, you can see they're scoring a lot of goals. And that's what you want to see happening in terms of goals being scored. 1 game, 5 goals against Pirates is good for the league as well.
Now, but for Pirates and Chiefs now, are there problems? Or is there still time to get it right and put up a proper fight?
I think there is still time. Yeah, you can't rule out these 2 teams. I mean, you look at them like in terms of their positions, it's irregular seeing these teams down there 5, 6, position 7, you always want to see them up. But I think maybe after this AFCON, they will be refreshed. Maybe get new players, because many worry is the finishing in both teams. The striking department, Pirates, now Chiefs, for me personally, it's not convincing. So I think the area, to say, no, we need quality strikers that will always hit the ball at the back of the net.
We've reached the midway point of the season now, Charan. At this point, Sundowns is looking good on top. Although they're beginning to stumble here and there, they're beginning to look human, one could say. The likes of Cape Town City, SuperSport United, Stellenbosch, Pirates, Chiefs. The battle is on for that number 2 spot. But can anyone catch Sundowns still? Can Sundowns still drop enough points to be caught? Is it over?
Now, I think it's over. Honestly speaking, it's over.
So Lababanye, number 2?
No, they need to fight for second spot in Champions League. And now you look at Pirates, SuperSport, Stelis being ambitious as well, Cape Town City. I heard Coach Eric talking about he did well with Pirates, you know, when he took them to the, I think it was the Africa Cup.
Yeah.
When they lost to
Al-Ahly.
no, Etoile Sahel.
Oh, yes.
So he's also ambitious in that because ufuna ukuqhubeka ne-Cape Town City. So abanye futhi nabo kufanele sibabheke.
Man, at the bottom, you've got the likes of Cape Town Spurs, Richards Bay. Important result for Richards Bay. They're running into hard times against Amazon in the derby. They're all in the cheaper, somewhat battling at the bottom. But Cape Town Spurs, not a big problem.
Yeah, mawubuka i-gap in terms of farmer points. I mean, Cape Town Spurs is single digits, you know, and then you look at the other teams, obviously it's 2 digits in terms of the points accumulated. So for them to get to 10, it's gonna still take long, you know, because the pressure is there.
Quick question.
Pressure is there.
Playing through December for the first time,
Yeah, because difficult.
Yeah?
I mean, it was difficult for players because it was like first-time experience.
Sure.
Somebody was like 31st. It was preparing. So Shaka to New Year. But look, it always comes with the job that you are doing as a player. You must always adhere to what they want you to do. So it was a little bit of experience, but it was so exciting based on the results. Eswaboni.
Something to look forward to before we think AFCON. All-star team against Stelis in the weekend.
Yeah, it's good for Stelis, but I'm surprised with the all-star team. You know, players that are being selected, you know, based on the favorite the fans are bringing in.
Yeah.
I think a little bit of quality is missing there, but let's see how is it going to do. But for Stelis, obviously, it's more like training, keeping the players fit in this one. But let's see how it's going to all-stars bring against Stelis.
Tell you what, for a December, 1st December, that we played right up until the end of December, in as far as the DSTV Premiership, it's made for some interesting times and exciting reading in as far as the score lines. We look forward to the game, of course, with the All-Star team against Stelis in rounding things up locally before we look to who will conquer the African continent. So that rounds up our look at things in the local aspect with the Legs of Thunder. Pindamzala joins us on the other side of this.
Game on.
Check these guys.
Let's show them how it's really done.
I see it.
Let's have Baba.
Your feet like this.
Let's see how you play.
Your feet like this.
Welcome back to Game On. Shane McGregor now joins me to break down all things, English Premiership. And interesting times these, Shane, in that it's difficult almost to predict the scorelines with the way things are going, but some interesting results having come through. Newcastle, Manchester United, Arsenal, maybe with their struggles continuing, it's safe to say. And your thoughts on what's happened of late in the Premier League?
Well, you know, it's that time of the year. They're playing a lot of games, one after another, and it catches up with teams and it catches up with players as well. If you look at what's happened with Arsenal, they went through exactly the same thing last year, except it was worse. It's just a matter of getting over it and setting it right as soon as possible. You can't keep on losing games because you're going to get too far behind and then you're in trouble. So for them, it's a matter of just getting it right, getting the players motivated again, and getting the players rested so they can be ready for the next game.
Like you said, it happened last year. It's happening again this year.
Yeah.
Where do you think they're missing at Arsenal? It's just trying to get through a smooth December.
I think it's basically the bench. You
Yeah.
know, the quality that they got coming through off the bench. They need to improve that. They need to bring more players in. If you look at the not bigger teams, if you look at Man City, you look at Liverpool, they got quality players that have come through and you can play and you can always change your team. They haven't had the luxury, Arsenal. They've had to try and play the same players all the time. They don't have as many players in different positions, and that's the big problem. You know, you need to have those players to come in and replace players, especially players are getting tired. And when young players are playing, a lot of their players are young, you go through patches where you need to rest those young players and give them a little bit of break and then get them refreshed and chuck them back in.
One game we spoke about and looked forward to going into the weekend was Liverpool against Newcastle. We knew there'd be excitement, we knew there'd be goals.
Yeah.
Do you expect a 4-2 thrashing though?
I expected a big score. If you remember saying the high scoring, I thought Liverpool would get the job done, which they did.
Yeah.
Newcastle, unfortunately, have got a lot of injuries at the moment, and that's the big thing here now. The window's open now, transfer window's open again. They've got to look at bringing players in.
You reckon?
The injury list is so far now. You know, they've got 8 to 9 players sitting out injured. Now, for a Newcastle team where they have to rely on those players, it's a big thing. They need to get into the market, have a look around. Their coach at the moment is going to be under pressure. There's two of them. There's two of them at this particular time in the season that are under huge pressure. Ten Hag at Man United and Newcastle Eddie Howe. They're the two guys that are going to be looking over their shoulder and saying, "Whoa, where's those coaches coming from?"
It's funny you say so because both those sides have been happy with the fact that they qualified for the Champions League, making top 4 last season. Both of them are sitting towards the middle of the table at 8th and 9th. And like you say, Manchester United, well, they continue to give us what they've been consistent at, which is being inconsistent.
Yeah, very inconsistent, you know, and people thought they turned the corner, they got a couple of results, but I went against them again on the weekend. I just feel that they, there's too many prima donnas in that team, too many players that think they're better than the team, too many players that are not putting it in. And for me, that's always a big worry. And the manager, you know, I don't think he can turn it around. I don't think he can change it, unfortunately. I think the club is too big for him.
Well, here we are, midway point of the season, or thereabouts. Aston Villa, wow, what a surprise package. They have come through the December period. They're sitting second behind Liverpool. And we also have to now consider players that are leaving for the African Cup of Nations and which sides will be affected. Liverpool, for one, we can't ignore the Mo Salah factor.
Well, Mo Salah, you can't. You know, 151 goals already in his career there. At the moment, they're lucky they've got players coming through. They're coming back from injury, Jota, players like that. But Jota's very injury prone. So that's the big worry for me. Mo Salah does make difference. He does make you've seen, he makes a difference in there. He might be gone for 4 or 5 weeks, so it just depends on what happens. Aston Villa are going to lose a couple of players. Do they have the depth in their squad? I'm not too sure. Transfer window, as I said, is open. All those clubs going to buy players. Liverpool won't. So Liverpool will stay with what they got. Aston Villa might have to bring in 1 or 2 players, but they don't want to disrupt what they got there already. He's got the guys playing well, he's got the guys working for him, and that's a big thing. If you bring players in, it's got to be able to fit into what you've done already.
Quickly, now, when you look at the last, four sides at the bottom of the table, Everton, thereabouts, which is a bit of a surprise with how they played at times this season. Luton, Burnley, Sheffield United. It's getting to that point where desperate times are coming into order now.
That's for sure. And if those teams don't go into the market, which they don't really have the big money to do that, they're going to be in big trouble. So I said in the beginning of the season, those 3 teams will be in trouble. I thought Burnley would do better than what they've done. You never know. But for me, they've got to go into the market, bring players in.
Well, those are the views of Shane McGregor. And as far as the EPL, and I'll tell you what, and as far as both these leagues, the EPL and the DStv Premiership, exciting results, goals, and, things aren't quite as predictable as we hoped they would be, or some thought they may be, which keeps things interesting and keeps us on the edge of our seats. Stay with Game On, because something a little bit special on the other side of this for you. Welcome back to Game On, and we are now joined by Patrick Ndendro, of course, founder of the KwaMahlobo Games that are held out every year in Middleland, sponsored by Hollywoodbets. Before Patrick and I get into it, let's find out more about the games, and we'll break it down afterwards.
I'm from Soweto. I'd say Soweto is like a nation. Soweto is like South Africa. Everything that we need in Soweto, we're going to get it. We have a lot of opportunities here. We have a lot of artists. We have a lot of dancers. We have a lot of soccer players. There's a lot that we have here in Middleland. And in Donasa like us is a pusher.
Our involvement here is to actually give back to the community. We do believe that these are the communities in which we do business in, so it's very vital and important for us to actually support the initiatives that take place within these communities. So what's happening right here, it's KwaMahlobo Games, which are the festive soccer tournaments, take place every year. So we make it a point that, you know what, in order for us to give back to the community, we become part of this great initiative and just, you know, support them in everything that they do, because we know that they do need the funds. It also takes the kids off the street. You know, the schools are closed, so it gives them the opportunity, and football does start from here. So there are a lot of scouts that come here looking for talent. So we as a corporate company, we also, you know, playing our part in giving back to the community and making this a success.
We're talking the KwaMahlobo Games. KwaMahlobo Games are called back 1996. If you count now, we are almost 30 years doing these community games, whereby now they become the culture of the community. This tournament has produced so many professional players. You talk of the likes of Renelo Litsolenyana, the likes of Opa Manyisa, the likes of Tiko Mudise. They are all coming from this tournament. To the people of the community, especially the vendors that are always coming to watch the games, it becomes a trademark because of it keeps the financial revenue. Yasekasi ukuthi bakwazi ukuthi bayikolo mazivulwa abathengela abantwana ukudla mababuyele esikolweni. It's not about football anymore. It is a community event.
I think it's very important for us to have tournaments like this to uplift the community, because a lot of our community members are unemployed. Eh? So with this, you know, they can put bread on the table, and it's my first time at this tournament, but I am glad, and the turnout was very good. When I saw what I did in the day, I was very impressed actually.
Look, it's festive right now. We're getting involved in all these soccer tournaments. Most are happening in Limpopo, KZN, Gauteng. But in January, schools are reopening where these kids are going back to school. So we have a big back to school campaign that we do across the country. So we'll be giving back to the kids again, you know, encouraging them to go back to school, and so that they can be motivated and do well in their studies.
The involvement of Hollywoodbets is very good in this tournament because of it assists to sustain the tournament. Without them, we cannot have a tournament. Their involvement, we really appreciate. To the senior management, the Hollywoodbets, to say thank you very much, thumbs up, keep up supporting the games.
Well, there you have it then. Community builder, I think it's safe to say, is the man that joins me here. Prophet, thank you so much for your time. Now, take us back 30 or so years, 1996. How does it all come together for you in being the founder of what's been a very successful KwaMahlobo Games?
Yeah, growing up in a township like Middlelands, you grew up under leadership such as Bob Preza, where you also start playing football as a young boy.
Sure.
In the streets like Ukasi, with Childlands and everything. But the family background, we all have a football blood. Yeah, and then as I grow up, I ended up being a school teacher. Now, being a school teacher, you become that sports master at the school level, whereby all the boys at school, they are looking at you as their coach. Now, that's where the career started, with the love of the football. And then you graduated to be a headmaster of the school, whereby you're making sure that the boys are playing. But the calling was there, whereby every weekend you need to make sure that the boys are playing in Middlelands, in the dusty ground at KwaMahlobo Ground Secondary School. Then now every Saturday there will be games playing. But now we said now is the time to get a much organized structural football because the leagues were dying by that time. Now we said, let's come up with a mechanism to revive the leagues. Remember, we had one big tournament that used to be there, the Godfrey Moloi Games. That was the only tournament. But the difference between the Godfrey Moloi Games and the KwaMahlobo Games, they used to call townships. The squads. Now you find some of the players are left out to represent their townships in terms of their squad. Middlelands will bring their team, Mapetla, Zola. Now you find that there are so many players coming from those different cassis. Now this is where we saw the gap in the market to say, okay, there are players that are left out. Let us come up with the concept, the KwaMahlobo Games. That was back in 1996, where I was seated with Brafet and Blessing to say, hey, this is the gap. And then we started with the four teams playing there. Teams increased from 4 to 16. And then there was no money played for, whereby now they playing for a lot of money. But then they won 4,000, 2,000 as participant. But now the love grows on. And then here we are with the KwaMahlobo Games. But what was big, it was when we started seeing scouts coming to watch the KwaMahlobo Games. And the number of people coming to attend the KwaMahlobo Games, the turn-up was amazing because it was a unique thing that was happening in our Kasi. Now, when scouts started coming, then we've produced our first player there at KwaMahlobo, Sibusiso Fohloza Mazibuko, where Moroka Swallows spotted him. Remember,
Waste of time, sorry.
Yes.
But it's an interesting story. This year, I know the tournament is still on. It's still carrying on. And how has it gone this year? And why is it so important that it's gone on for so long, quickly?
Yeah, remember this tournament, it's a tournament.
Yeah.
You see other people, you hear it's a tournament, but ours is more of developmental. We're playing for 17 days. Now playing for 17 days there, we're giving each and every team a chance to play 4 times. Now we've been playing since now. The tournament is on and up running. And then as we're sitting now today, we are sitting going to watch our quarterfinals. Then tomorrow, which is a Sunday, that's when now we're going to watch our finals and semi-finals and finals and crown the 2023-2024 winners. But it's been a good tournament, a very hectic tournament, powered by our partners, Hollywoodbets.
Yeah. And still the supporters have come out?
The turnout is amazing. You see, PSL will punish me if they have to because of you go to other stadiums, it's a white elephant. But when the KwaMahlobo Games plays, the whole country catches up the flu. The numbers are very high.
Well, that's good to hear. And, well, for the time you've put into this and the success you've had, we'd like to congratulate you and wish the teams that will be playing, of course, in the finals the very best in being crowned the 2023-24 champions. Now, in as far as Game On for this week, we've come to the end of the show. And, well, we look forward to seeing you again come the same time next week right here on SABC1. Until then, it's click, click, bang.